please, I'm just a transfer student. Well, well, looks like Daddy's little boarding school princess has some bite. Shame you just assaulted the Alpha's beta guard. That's a death sentence, sweetheart. Unless the Alpha wants to handle you himself.
What is going on here?
Okay, so maybe I should explain how I ended up here. Let's back up to this morning. You know, when my life was still semi-normal? Well, as normal as it gets when you're the daughter of a rogue king in hiding. Chapter 1. The Worst First Day. The silver chain felt heavier than it should. I wrapped it around my wrist 3 times, tucking the end under my uniform sleeve. The metal burned slightly against my skin, a reminder of what I was hiding. Rule number 1 of staying alive: look boring, act boring, be boring. I stared at my reflection in the tiny dorm mirror. Brown hair pulled into a boring ponytail, boring gray uniform, boring brown eyes that hadn't shifted gold in 6 months because I hadn't let my wolf out in 6 months. Boring, boring, boring. Perfect. Morning, roomie! I nearly jumped out of my skin. The chain slipped from my fingers, clattering against the dresser. A girl with bright red hair and an even brighter smile burst through the door, arms full of textbooks and what looked like half the school's supply of gel pens. Sorry, did I scare you? I'm Molly Casey. You must be the transfer student everyone's talking about. She dumped everything onto her bed and stuck out her hand. We're going to be best friends. I can tell. I forced a smile and shook her hand. Riley Mason. The fake name tasted like ash in my mouth. Riley! Oh my God, that's such a cute name. Is it short for something? Where are you from? What pack are you from? Do you have a boyfriend? You're going to love it here. Well, except for the food. The food is terrible. But the drama is amazing. Molly. I held up a hand. Breathe. She laughed, flopping onto her bed. Sorry, I talk a lot when I'm nervous. New roommates always make me nervous. The last girl I roomed with tried to steal my boyfriend. Well, he wasn't really my boyfriend, but we were talking, you know? Anyway, she's gone now, transferred, or expelled, I forget which. I turned back to the mirror, rewrapping the chain. I don't have a boyfriend. Good, because trust me, the pickings here are slim. Well, except for the Alpha's son. He's insanely hot, like stupid hot. But he's also our combat instructor, so that's kind of weird, right? A student-teacher thing? Though technically we're all adults, so maybe it's not that weird. Alpha's son? My fingers froze on the chain. Yeah, Damon Glass. He teaches here a few days a week when he's not doing Alpha in training stuff. You'll probably see him today. Everyone tries to sign up for his classes. She sighed dramatically. Not that he notices anyone. He's all business. Very serious. Very broody. Very hot, you mentioned. She grinned. Just wait till you see him. You'll get it. I seriously doubted that. The last thing I needed was to get noticed by an Alpha's son. The whole point of being here was to disappear. My phone buzzed. I grabbed it off the dresser, expecting another message from my father's enemies, telling me they knew where I was. Run while you can. The usual threats I'd been getting for months. Instead, it was from my little sister, Lena. Good luck on your first day. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Me. That leaves me a lot of options. Lena. Exactly. Miss you. Me. Miss you too. Stay safe. I shoved the phone in my pocket before Molly could see and ask questions. Come on! Molly jumped up, grabbing my arm. We're going to be late for breakfast, and trust me, you do not want to miss breakfast. It's the only meal that's actually edible. The cafeteria was chaos. Students packed into long tables, talking and laughing and throwing food like they didn't have a care in the world. Like they weren't part of a species that could tear each other apart with their bare hands. I grabbed a tray and followed Molly through the line, loading up on eggs and toast and something that might have been bacon. So, what pack are you from? Molly asked as we found seats at a half-empty table. Small one, you wouldn't know it. Try me. I know basically everyone. Of course she did. Really small, I said, shoving eggs into my mouth so I wouldn't have to talk. Mysterious. I like it. She leaned in conspiratorially. Are you running from something? Oh my God, are you in witness protection? Did you see a murder? I nearly choked on my eggs. Molly, I'm just a normal transfer student. Boring, she declared, waving her fork at me. But fine, keep your secrets. I'll find out eventually. I always do. That's what I was afraid of. I was halfway through my toast when I felt it. Eyes on me. Not the casual glances you get in a crowded room. Focused attention. Predatory attention. I looked up slowly, scanning the cafeteria. 3 tables over, a group of guys stared at me. Not admiring stares. Assessing stares. The one in the middle, tall, dark-haired, built like he spent more time in the gym than in class, caught my eye and smirked. My wolf stirred for the first time in months. Careful, she whispered. That one's dangerous. No kidding. Oh no, Molly muttered. That's Solomon Hess and his crew. They're the beta guards in training. Basically the Alpha's son's personal goon squad. They think they run this place. Do they? Pretty much. She grabbed my arm. Just ignore them. They love messing with new students. Too late. Solomon stood, his chair scraping loudly against the floor. His friends followed. All 5 of them. They walked toward our table like they owned the room. Because they probably did. My hand instinctively went to the chain under my sleeve. Don't shift. Don't fight. Don't do anything stupid. Solomon stopped in front of our table, arms crossed. Up close, he was even bigger. 6 foot something of pure muscle and bad attitude. New girl, he said, looking me up and down. Transfer student, right? Right, I said flatly. Funny, you don't smell like any pack I know. My heart kicked into overdrive. Like I told Molly, small pack, you wouldn't know it. Try me. I know every pack in a 3-state radius. Shit. Look, I set down my fork carefully. I'm just trying to eat my breakfast. Can we do this another time? His smirk widened. Do what? Whatever this is. The intimidation thing. I'm not interested. One of his friends, a shorter guy with a shaved head, laughed. She's got some mouth on her. That she does. Solomon leaned down, bracing his hands on the table. Here's the thing, new girl. We don't like mysteries. And you? You're a mystery. No pack scent. No registration papers filed with the school. No record of you anywhere before 3 days ago. How the hell did he know that? So here's what's going to happen, he continued, his voice dropping lower. You're going to tell me who you really are, where you really came from, and why you're really here. Or what? I met his eyes. You'll tell on me? Report me to the principal? Oh no, not my permanent record. Molly made a strangled noise beside me. Solomon's jaw tightened. Or I'll make your life here very, very difficult. Looking forward to it. The words were out before I could stop them. Stupid, stupid, stupid. For a second, nobody moved. The cafeteria noise seemed to fade into the background. Then Solomon smiled. Not a friendly smile, a wolf-spotting prey smile. I like you, he said. You've got guts. Stupid guts, but guts. He straightened up, gesturing to his friends. Come on, let's go. This should be fun to watch. They walked away, laughing. Molly grabbed my arm the second they were out of earshot. What were you thinking? You don't challenge Solomon Hess. He's going to make your life a living hell. He was going to do that anyway. Well, yeah, but now he's going to do it enthusiastically. She buried her face in her hands. This is bad. This is so bad. On your first day. I went back to my eggs. They were cold now. Riley. Molly's voice was serious for the first time. Those guys? They're not just bullies. They're trained fighters, beta guards. They could actually hurt you. I can handle myself. Can you? She looked at me, really looked at me. Because I've been here 2 years, and I've seen what they do to people who challenge them. It's not pretty. I met her eyes. Molly, I appreciate the concern, but trust me, I've dealt with worse than a few overgrown gym rats. That much was true. Much, much worse. She studied me for a long moment, then sighed. Fine. But when this goes south, and it will go south, don't say I didn't warn you. Noted. I finished my eggs in silence, very aware that Solomon and his friends were still watching from across the room. My first day hadn't even really started yet, and I'd already made enemies. Father would be so proud. Chapter 2. Combat Training Class. The morning classes dragged. History of pack politics, werewolf biology, advanced mathematics. I sat in the back of each room, took notes I'd never look at again, and counted down the minutes until lunch. Molly chattered beside me through every class, somehow managing to talk and take detailed notes at the same time, a skill I almost admired. So after lunch we have combat training, she said as we walked toward the cafeteria. That's the mandatory class I was telling you about. Everyone has to take it. Safety evaluation or whatever. My stomach dropped. Combat training? Yeah, don't worry, it's not that bad. Usually they just have us run drills and practice basic defense moves. Super boring. She paused. Well, unless Damon is teaching, then it's boring but also extremely distracting because, hot. You mentioned. I'm just saying, it's hard to focus on proper blocking technique when your instructor looks like he walked out of a fitness magazine. I had bigger problems than a hot instructor. Combat training meant demonstrating skills, which meant either looking completely incompetent or accidentally revealing that I'd been training since I could walk. Neither option was good. We grabbed lunch, sandwiches that tasted like cardboard and apples that were actually decent, and found a table far from Solomon and his friends. They're still watching you, Molly muttered, not looking in their direction. I know. Doesn't that bother you? Not really. I bit into my apple. I'm used to people watching me. That much was true. When your father is the most wanted rogue king in the country, you learn to live with eyes on you constantly. These guys were amateurs compared to the wolves who'd hunted me before. You're weird, Riley Mason, Molly said, but she was smiling. I think we're going to be great friends. Don't get too attached. I'm not great at the whole friendship thing. Too late. Already attached. She stood up, grabbing her tray. Come on. Combat training starts in 10 minutes. We need to change into gym clothes. The training facility was impressive. High ceilings, padded floors, equipment that looked expensive and well-maintained. Floor-to-ceiling windows let in natural light. This wasn't some run-down school gym. This was a serious training center. About 30 students milled around, stretching and talking. I recognized a few faces from my morning classes, and of course, Solomon and his friends stood in the corner, already in athletic gear, looking like they owned the place. Because they probably did. Okay, so the changing rooms are through there. Molly pointed to a door on the left. I'll meet you back here in 5. I nodded and headed for the changing room, trying to ignore the knot forming in my stomach. Just look average. Competent, but not skilled. Do not draw attention. The changing room was empty except for one other girl who was already dressed and heading out. I changed quickly, black athletic leggings, gray tank top, tennis shoes, and shoved my uniform into a locker. The silver chain went into my pocket, just in case. When I came back out, Molly was waiting, bouncing on her toes. Ready? As I'll ever be. Attention, everyone! The voice cut through the chatter like a knife. The room went silent, and then I saw him. Damon Glass. Molly hadn't been exaggerating. The man was unfairly attractive. Tall, easily 6'3", dark hair that looked like he'd run his hands through it too many times, sharp jawline, and eyes that were currently scanning the room with an intensity that made my wolf sit up and take notice. He wore simple black athletic pants and a fitted gray shirt that left very little to the imagination regarding his physique. Focus, I told myself. He's just another alpha's son. You've dealt with plenty of those. Except I hadn't. Not really. I'd spent most of my life avoiding alphas and their families entirely. Welcome back, everyone, Damon said, his voice carrying easily across the room. For those who are new this semester, I'm Damon Glass. I'll be your combat instructor. This class is mandatory for all students. You will learn basic self-defense, pack fighting techniques, and how to handle yourself in dangerous situations. He started walking along the front of the room, hands clasped behind his back. Today we're doing combat assessments. I need to see where each of you stands skill-wise so I can tailor training accordingly. You'll be paired up. First takedown wins. Any questions? A girl near the front raised her hand. What if we don't want to fight? Then you fail the class and get expelled from the school. His tone was matter-of-fact. This isn't optional. Next question? No one raised their hand. Good. When I call your name, step forward. He pulled out a tablet, scrolling through what I assumed was a class roster. First pair, Molly Casey and Teresa Bass. Molly squeaked beside me. Oh no, no. You'll be fine, I whispered. Teresa is a black belt in like 3 different martial arts. She trudged forward like she was heading to her execution. I watched as Molly and Teresa, a tall girl with short black hair, squared off in the center of the mat. To Molly's credit, she lasted almost 30 seconds before Teresa had her pinned. Good effort, Casey, Damon said. Bass, nice work. Next pair, Solomon Hess and Lamar Lane. This was clearly going to take a while. I watched pair after pair go. Some were evenly matched, others were over in seconds. Solomon demolished his opponent, a skinny kid who looked like he'd never thrown a punch in his life, in under 10 seconds. The smirk he wore afterward made me want to punch him myself. Riley Mason and Wes Vincent. My heart stopped. Every eye in the room turned to me. Just look average, competent but not skilled. I stepped forward, sizing up my opponent. Wes was medium height, medium build. Probably had some training based on his stance. Not a pushover, but not Solomon level either. Perfect. I could work with this. We took our positions on the mat. Begin, Damon said. Wes came at me fast, throwing a right hook that I blocked easily. Too easily. I let him push me back a few steps, pretending to struggle with his strength. He went for a leg sweep. I jumped over it but made it look awkward, stumbled a bit. Come on, new girl, someone shouted from the sidelines. Wes grabbed for my arm. I let him catch it, then twisted out of his grip using a basic escape technique anyone could learn from a YouTube video. We circled each other. He was getting confident now, thinking I was weaker than him. Good. He lunged. I sidestepped, but not fast enough. His shoulder caught my side and we both went down. Perfect. I let him pin me. 1, 2, 3 seconds. Winner, Vincent, Damon announced. I got up, brushing off my pants. Wes offered me a hand up. I took it. Good match, he said. Yeah, you too. I walked back to Molly's side, trying to ignore the disappointment on her face. You lost, she whispered. I know. But you moved so fast in the beginning. I thought, I got lucky with that one block, that's all. She didn't look convinced, but she dropped it. I watched the rest of the matches, my heart rate finally returning to normal. I'd done it. Looked competent enough to pass, but not skilled enough to draw attention. Mission accomplished. All right, everyone, good work today, Damon said once the last pair finished. I've got a good sense of where you all stand. We'll start actual training next week. Class dismissed. Students started filing out, talking and laughing. I grabbed my water bottle and turned to leave. Riley Mason! I froze. Damon stood 10 feet away, arms crossed, eyes locked on me. Stay behind, please. I need to speak with you. Every instinct I had screamed at me to run. Instead, I nodded. Sure. Molly gave me a worried look. I waved her off. She reluctantly left with the others. Soon, it was just me and Damon. And Solomon and his 4 friends, who had apparently decided to stick around. Is there a problem? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Damon walked closer, not threatening, but not friendly either. You held back, he said simply. I don't know what you mean. In your match with Vincent, you held back. He tilted his head. That first block? That was advanced technique, not something a novice knows. And your footwork, when you sidestepped his lunge, that was trained movement. My mouth went dry. I think you're underestimating me, Mr. Glass. I just got lucky. Interesting. He pulled out his tablet again, scrolling through something. Because according to your registration papers, you've never taken a combat class before. No formal training listed. But you move like someone who's been training for years. Solomon laughed from behind Damon. Told you she was hiding something. I shot him a glare. I'm not hiding anything. I watched a lot of YouTube videos. Self-defense tutorials, that's all. YouTube videos, Damon repeated, his tone making it clear he didn't believe me for a second. Yes. Prove it. What? He gestured to Solomon and his friends. If you're really just a novice who got lucky, you won't be able to replicate that performance. So let's test it. He looked at Solomon. You and your team, 5-on-1. My blood turned to ice. You want me to fight all 5 of them? I want you to defend yourself against all 5 of them. Big difference. He walked to the edge of the mat, leaning against the wall. You don't have to win, just survive. 30 seconds. If you're really untrained, they'll overwhelm you immediately. If you're trained... He trailed off meaningfully. I looked at Solomon and his friends, all of them grinning like wolves who'd cornered prey. This was insane. But if I refused, I'd look guilty. And if I ran, even more so. I had 2 choices. Get beaten to a pulp in 30 seconds, or expose my training. Neither was good. But I made my choice the second Solomon cracked his knuckles and said, "This is going to be fun." I thought about my sister, about my father, about everything I'd survived to get here. And I decided that I was tired of pretending to be weak. Fine, I said, walking to the center of the mat. 30 seconds. Let's do this. Damon raised an eyebrow but said nothing. Solomon and his 4 friends spread out around me in a loose circle. Begin, Damon said, hitting a timer on his tablet. For half a second, nobody moved. Then all 5 of them lunged at once, and my body took over. Chapter 3. The 5-second knockout. The first one came at me from the left. I didn't think. My body just moved. I ducked under his arm, grabbed his wrist, and used his own momentum to flip him over my hip. He hit the mat hard, the air whooshing out of his lungs. 1 down, 4 to go. The timer read 27 seconds. 2 came at me simultaneously, 1 high, 1 low. A coordinated attack. They'd trained together. Good for them. I jumped, letting the low one pass underneath me, and kicked out at the high one's chest. My foot connected with solid muscle. He stumbled back, landed, spun, caught the low attacker's leg before he could recover, and twisted. He went down with a yelp. 2 down, 23 seconds. Solomon and 1 other, the one with the shaved head, circled me like sharks. Not bad, Solomon said, grinning, but you're about to run out of luck. They attacked together, forcing me back. Solomon went for a grapple while Shaved Head tried to sweep my legs. I dropped low, rolling between them. Came up behind Solomon. Pressure point strike to his kidney. He gasped, dropping to 1 knee. Shaved Head grabbed me from behind, arms wrapping around my chest in a bear hug. Strong. Very strong. Can't break free with strength alone. I threw my head back, connecting with his nose. Heard the crunch. His grip loosened. I twisted, elbowed him in the solar plexus, and shoved him away. He went down. 3 down. Solomon on his knees. 1 still standing. 15 seconds. The last guy, taller than the others with longer reach, stood his ground. Smarter, waiting for me to come to him. Solomon was getting back up, hand pressed to his side where I'd hit him. I had to end this. Fast. I ran at the tall one, faking left, then going right. He took the bait, reaching for where I wasn't. I slid under his arm, came up behind him, and kicked the back of his knee. He went down. I spun to face Solomon, who was charging at me, face red with anger. 10 seconds. He swung wild, sloppy, angry. I dodged. Once. Twice. He overextended on the 3rd swing. I grabbed his arm, stepped into his space, and used a classic judo throw to send him flying over my shoulder. He landed flat on his back. For a moment, nobody moved. Then Damon's voice cut through the silence. "Time. 30 seconds exactly." I stood in the center of the mat, breathing hard, looking down at 5 beta guards in training sprawled around me in various states of pain and embarrassment. The adrenaline started to fade. Reality set in. Oh no. Oh no, no, no. I'd just done exactly what I wasn't supposed to do. I looked up at Damon. He was staring at me with an expression I couldn't read. Not angry, not surprised, calculating. "YouTube videos," he said quietly. "Right." I opened my mouth, closed it. No explanation would work here. Solomon groaned, rolling onto his side. "What the hell?" "Enough." Damon's voice cracked like a whip. "All of you get up. Go to the medical station. Get checked out." The 5 of them limped away, shooting me looks that ranged from shocked to murderous. Great. I'd just made 5 more enemies. No, 6, because Damon was walking toward me now, and he did not look happy. "My office," he said. "Now." "I can explain." "Office, now." His office was on the 2nd floor of the training facility, smaller than I expected. Desk covered in papers and tablets, bookshelves lined with combat manuals and pack law texts, a window overlooking the training floor below. Damon closed the door behind us. I stood in front of his desk, arms crossed, trying to look less terrified than I felt. He didn't sit, just leaned against the desk, arms crossed, mirroring my posture. "Who are you?" he asked. "Riley Mason, transfer student. You read my file." I read a file with the name Riley Mason on it, mostly blank, no pack affiliation listed, no training history, no family contacts, nothing. His eyes narrowed. "That file is fake, so I'll ask again. Who are you?" My wolf stirred, uncomfortable. "Tell him," she whispered. "He deserves to know." "Absolutely not." "I'm nobody," I said aloud. "Just a girl trying to get an education. Nobody doesn't take down 5 trained fighters in 30 seconds. I got lucky. Luck doesn't use Krav Maga techniques mixed with judo throws and pressure point strikes." He pushed off the desk, walking closer. "I've been training since I was 6 years old. I know what real training looks like. And you? You're elite level, military level. So who trained you?" I kept my mouth shut. He studied me for a long moment. Then he did something I didn't expect. He sniffed the air, frowned, sniffed again, moving closer. "What perfume are you wearing?" he asked, his voice suddenly different, uncertain. "I'm not wearing any." He went very still. I watched as realization dawned across his face. His eyes widened slightly, his jaw clenched. "No," he said quietly. "No, this isn't." And then I smelled it too. Pine and winter air and something wild I couldn't name. My wolf perked up, suddenly very interested. "Mate," she whispered, almost reverently. "Mate." "You've got to be kidding me," I breathed. Damon took a step back, then another, put the desk between us like it could somehow break the mate bond trying to snap into place. "This isn't possible," he said. "Yeah, well, tell that to biology." We stared at each other across the desk. The bond pulled at me, trying to draw me closer to him. My wolf was practically doing backflips, but I held my ground. "This doesn't change anything," Damon said finally. "You're still lying about who you are. You're still hiding something, and I'm still going to find out what." "Good luck with that." "I don't need luck. I have resources." He walked around the desk, grabbed a tablet, started typing. "I can run your scent through the database, cross-reference it with every known pack. I'll find out where you're from." Panic shot through me. If he ran my scent, he'd find out I was connected to the Rogue King, and then everything would fall apart. "Don't," I said. "Give me one good reason why not." "Because," I scrambled for something, anything. "Because I'm asking you not to." "Not good enough." "Because we're mates," I said desperately. Doesn't that count for something? He looked at me, really looked at me. A mate bond doesn't automatically mean trust, he said quietly. My father taught me that. Anyone can be a mate. It doesn't make them honest, doesn't make them safe. The words stung more than they should have. Fine, I said. Run my scent. Do whatever you want. But when you don't find anything, because my pack is too small to be in any database, you're going to owe me an apology. It was a bluff, a terrible bluff, but it was all I had. Damon's finger hovered over the tablet screen. For a long moment, neither of us moved. Then he set the tablet down. I'm not going to run your scent, he said, yet. But I am going to be watching you. Every move you make, every person you talk to, every class you attend. He walked closer, stopping just out of arm's reach. I don't trust you, Riley Mason, mate or not. The feeling's mutual. Good. Then we understand each other. Perfectly. The bond pulled harder, like it was angry we weren't falling into each other's arms like mates were supposed to. But I'd never done what I was supposed to. You can go, Damon said, turning away, dismissing me. I headed for the door. One more thing. I stopped, hand on the doorknob. You're now required to assist with junior combat training, 3 times a week. If you're that skilled, you might as well put it to use. Is that an order? It's a strongly worded suggestion from your mate who happens to be your instructor. I could argue, should argue, but part of me, the part that wasn't completely terrified, was curious. About him. About this bond neither of us wanted. Fine, I said, 3 times a week. I walked out before he could see the fear on my face. Molly was waiting in the hallway outside the training facility, bouncing on her toes. Oh my God, what happened? Are you okay? Did you get expelled? You were in there forever. I'm fine. Fine? You just took down Solomon Hess and his entire crew in like no time flat. That was... She grabbed my arm, eyes wide. That was the most badass thing I've ever seen. Despite everything, I smiled. Thanks. Where did you learn to fight like that? The smile faded. YouTube videos, remember? She rolled her eyes. Yeah, and I'm the Alpha's secret daughter. Come on, Riley, you can tell me. There's nothing to tell. We started walking back toward the dorms. The sun was setting, painting the sky in oranges and pinks. So, what did Damon want? Molly asked. To interrogate me about my non-existent training history. And nothing. I told him the truth. I'm just a transfer student trying to blend in. Molly snorted. Well, you're doing a terrible job of that. She had no idea. We made it back to our dorm room. I collapsed onto my bed, exhausted. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. My heart sank. I opened the message. We know you're there. They know you're there. Run while you still can. I deleted it immediately. Everything okay? Molly asked, watching me. Yeah, just spam. Another buzz. Another unknown number. Your father sends his regards. He's disappointed you ran away, but don't worry, he's coming to bring you home. My blood turned to ice. I looked at Molly, forcing a smile. I'm going to take a shower. Okay, want to grab dinner after? Sure. I locked myself in the bathroom, turned on the shower to mask any sound, and sat on the floor. My hands were shaking. He'd found me. Of course he'd found me. I was stupid to think I could hide forever. The Rogue King always found what he was looking for, and he wanted his daughter back. I pulled out my phone with trembling fingers and texted my sister. Me. Are you safe? 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. For now, he's planning something. Big. I don't know what. Be careful. You too. I love you. Love you too. Don't do anything stupid. Too late for that. I'd already done about 15 stupid things today, including discovering my mate was the one person who could destroy everything I'd worked for if he found out who I really was. I stood up, looked at myself in the mirror. Boring brown eyes stared back. But they weren't boring anymore. They were scared. Get it together, I whispered to my reflection. You've survived worse than this. I had, but barely, and I wasn't sure I could do it again. I took the fastest shower of my life, changed into clean clothes, and came out to find Molly gone. A note on her desk said she'd gone ahead to dinner. My phone buzzed again. This time, it wasn't an unknown number. It was Damon. "We need to talk. Meet me at the North Training Yard in 10 minutes. Come alone." I stared at the message. Every instinct told me not to go. It could be a trap. He could have figured out who I was. He could be planning to turn me in. But he was my mate, and despite everything, some stupid part of me trusted him. Against my better judgment, I grabbed my jacket and headed for the North Training Yard. Whatever was coming, I'd face it, just like I'd faced everything else, head on, alone, the way I always had. Chapter 4. The North Yard. The North Training Yard was deserted. No surprise. It was almost 8 at night, and most students were at dinner or in their dorms. The yard itself was just an open field with training equipment, pull-up bars, obstacle courses, sparring circles marked in the grass. Damon stood in the center of the largest circle, hands in his pockets, staring up at the darkening sky. I approached slowly, every muscle tensed for a fight. He turned when I was about 10 feet away. "You came," he said. "You said we needed to talk." "I also said come alone. I wasn't sure you would." "Why wouldn't I?" "Because for all you know, this is a trap. I could be planning to turn you in to my father, have you arrested, interrogated properly." My hand moved to my pocket where I'd stashed the silver chain, just in case. "Are you?" I asked. "No." "Then why am I here?" He was quiet for a moment, then gestured to the ground. "Sit." "I'd rather stand." "Riley. If you're going to threaten me or lecture me, just get it over with. I've had a long day." "I'm not going to do either of those things." He sat down on the grass, cross-legged, and looked up at me. "I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm hoping you'll return the favor." That surprised me. Carefully, I lowered myself to the ground across from him, far enough that we weren't within grabbing distance, close enough that I could hear him if he spoke quietly. "I don't trust easily," Damon started. "My father taught me that trust has to be earned, especially in our world, especially with the threats we face." "Okay." "But the mate bond..." He ran a hand through his hair, frustrated. "The bond complicates things. It's telling me to trust you, to protect you, to claim you. Every instinct I have is screaming at me to accept you." My wolf perked up hopefully. "But your head is telling you not to," I finished. "Exactly." He looked at me. "So here's what I'm proposing. A truce, temporary. We both agree to be honest with each other, within reason. I won't run your scent through the database. You tell me enough that I can trust you're not a threat to this school or this pack." "And if I am a threat?" "Are you?" I thought about my father, about the war he was planning, about the fact that my very existence here put everyone in danger. "Not intentionally," I said carefully. "That's not a no." "It's the best you're going to get." He studied me for a long moment, then, surprisingly, he nodded. "Fair enough. Let me ask you this instead. Are you here to hurt anyone at this school?" "No." "Are you working with rogues?" My heart skipped. "Define working with." "Don't play semantic games with me, Riley. Are you helping rogues plan an attack on this territory or any pack territory?" "No, absolutely not." The relief on his face was visible. Okay, that's something." "My turn," I said. "Why do you care? We're mates, sure, but you made it pretty clear you don't want this bond any more than I do. So why not just reject me and be done with it?" He flinched at the word reject. "Because I can't," he admitted quietly. "I've tried. For the last 3 hours, I've been trying to convince myself to do exactly that. To go to my father, tell him you're a security risk, and have you removed from the school." "But..." But every time I think about it, my wolf loses his mind. And, he hesitated, and something in my gut tells me you're not the enemy. You're scared, you're hiding, but you're not evil. The accuracy of that statement hit me harder than I expected. I'm not evil, I agreed softly. I'm just trying to survive. Survive what? I looked away, across the dark field. That's need-to-know information, and you don't need to know. That's not how this truce works. Then maybe the truce doesn't work. I stood up. Look, I appreciate the attempt at honesty, really, but I can't tell you everything. If I do, you'll have no choice but to turn me in, and I can't let that happen. Damon stood too. Because you're protecting someone. It wasn't a question. I didn't answer. Your file listed no family, he continued, moving closer. But the way you reacted when I mentioned running your scent, that was fear. Not for yourself, for someone else. He was too perceptive, too smart, dangerous. I need to go, I said, turning away. He caught my wrist, gently, not restraining, just stopping me. The mate bond flared at the contact. Heat rushed up my arm straight to my chest. We both froze. Let go, I whispered. In a second. His voice was rough. I need you to understand something. I'm trying here. I'm trying to meet you halfway. But you have to give me something. Anything. Because right now, all I have are questions and a mate bond that won't let me walk away, even though every logical part of my brain is telling me to. I looked down at his hand on my wrist. His fingers were warm, strong. I could break his grip easily. I'd been trained to escape holds like this since I was 7, but I didn't. I have a sister, I said quietly. She's younger than me, 16, and she's in danger because of who our father is. I came here to hide, to keep her safe by staying away from her, because if our enemies find me, they'll use her to get to me, and I can't let that happen. It was more truth than I'd given anyone in months. Damon's grip loosened slightly, but he didn't let go. Who's your father? Can't tell you that. Riley, that's all you get, I said firmly, meeting his eyes. That's the truth. I'm here hiding from my father's enemies. I'm not a threat to anyone at this school unless they threaten me first, and I will do whatever it takes to keep my sister safe. That's all you need to know. For a moment, I thought he'd push, demand more. Instead, he released my wrist and stepped back. Okay, he said. Okay? It's not everything, but it's enough, for now. He crossed his arms. But I have conditions. Of course he did. What conditions? 1. You show up for assistant training duties. No skipping, no excuses. Fine. 2. If you get any indication that your father's enemies have found you or are coming here, you tell me immediately. That one was harder, but I nodded. Okay. 3. You stop running from the mate bond. My eyes snapped to his. What? I'm not saying we have to accept it fully. I'm not saying we have to mate or mark each other, but we stop fighting it completely. We acknowledge it exists. We try to, he gestured vaguely between us, figure out what this is. That's a terrible idea. Probably, but it's the only one I've got. He moved closer again, and this time I didn't step back. Because, like it or not, we're stuck with each other. The bond isn't going away, and if we're going to survive whatever's coming, and something is coming, I can feel it, we need to at least try to work together. He wasn't wrong. I hated that he wasn't wrong. Fine, I said, but we take it slow. No claiming, no marking, no mating. I know. I'm not asking for that. Then what are you asking for? He was quiet for a moment. Then, hesitantly, he held out his hand. I'm asking if we can start with being friends. I stared at his hand. This was insane. Absolutely insane. But I was tired. Tired of running. Tired of being alone. Tired of pretending I didn't feel the bond pulling me toward him. I reached out and took his hand. His fingers closed around mine, warm and solid. The bond hummed contentedly, like it had been waiting for exactly this. Friends, I agreed. But if you betray me, You'll kick my ass like you did to Solomon and his crew. I know. He smiled. Actually smiled. I'm terrified. Despite everything, I smiled back. You should be. We stood there for a moment, hands clasped, the mate bond settling into something almost comfortable between us. Then his expression changed, went serious. Someone's coming, he said quietly. I heard it too. Footsteps, multiple sets, running. We dropped hands and turned toward the sound. A figure burst out of the trees at the edge of the yard. One of the students, I recognized him from combat training. Wilson, maybe? Alpha Damon, he gasped, out of breath. We need you at the south border, now. Damon's entire demeanor shifted, went from almost relaxed to full alpha mode in a heartbeat. What happened? Rogues, 3 of them. They're asking for sanctuary. My blood went cold. Rogues, here, asking for sanctuary. That couldn't be a coincidence. Damon looked at me, and I saw the question in his eyes. Did you know about this? I shook my head minutely. I hadn't, but I had a terrible feeling I knew who sent them. Take me to them, Damon ordered Wilson. Then to me, stay here. Like hell. Riley, if rogues just showed up asking for sanctuary the same day I arrive, you really think that's not connected to me? He wanted to argue, I could see it, but he didn't. Fine, come, but stay behind me, and if I tell you to run, you run. Understood? Sure. I mean it. I heard you. We took off running, following Wilson through the trees toward the south border. My mind raced. If my father sent rogues here, it meant he knew where I was, knew I'd enrolled, and if he was making a move this quickly, this was bad. This was very, very bad. We burst out of the trees onto a dirt road that marked the pack boundary. 3 figures stood just on the other side. 2 men, 1 woman, all in ragged clothes, all looking thin and desperate, and standing between them and the pack territory was Damon's father. Alpha Ferdinand Glass was even more intimidating in person than I'd imagined. Tall, broad-shouldered, with dark hair going gray at the temples and eyes that missed nothing. He turned when he heard us approach. Damon, good, we have a situation. So I heard. Damon moved to stand beside his father and I hung back slightly. Who are they? They claim to be rogues fleeing from the Rogue King, Ferdinand said. They want sanctuary. The Rogue King. They said it out loud. My father's title. I forced myself to stay still, to not react. Why should we believe you? Damon asked the rogues. The woman stepped forward. She was probably in her 30s, with matted blonde hair and a scar across her cheek. Because we have proof, she said. Proof of what he's planning, and proof that his daughter is here. Every eye turned to me. My heart stopped. The woman's gaze locked on mine and she smiled. Not a friendly smile, a hunter's smile. Hello, Riley, she said. Or should I say, Princess Kira? Chapter 5. Princess of Nothing. The silence stretched for 3 heartbeats, then everything exploded. Kira? Damon's voice was ice. Your name is Kira. I couldn't look at him, couldn't see the betrayal I knew would be written across his face. Alpha Ferdinand stepped forward, his presence radiating authority. Explain. Now. The rogue woman's smile widened. Her real name is Kira Blackwood, daughter of the Rogue King, Drake Blackwood. She's been hiding here under a false identity. She tilted her head mockingly. Tell them, Princess. Tell them who you really are. My hands clenched into fists at my sides. Run, my wolf whispered. Run now while you still can. But I was done running. Yes, I said, my voice steadier than I felt. My name is Kira, Kira Blackwood, and yes, my father is the Rogue King. Damon took a step back like I'd slapped him. That hurt more than it should have. But, I continued, forcing myself to meet Alpha Ferdinand's eyes, I am not my father. I ran away from him 6 months ago. I came here to hide, to disappear, to get away from what he is and what he does. Liar, the rogue woman spat. You're a spy, sent here to gather intelligence for your father's attack." "What attack?" Ferdinand demanded, his eyes never leaving mine. "The Rogue King is planning to attack the High Council," the woman said. "He's been gathering forces for months, and he sent his precious daughter here to scout the territory, learn the defenses, report back." "That's not true," I cut in. "I'm not working for him. I'm hiding from him." "Then explain the texts," the woman said smugly. "The ones we intercepted, from your father's network, talking about the princess being in position, about how Phase 1 was complete." My stomach dropped. I remembered the messages I'd gotten, the threats, the warnings, but I'd never responded, never engaged. Someone was setting me up. "I never sent any texts," I said desperately. "I never communicated with my father or his people. I've been hiding." "Enough." Ferdinand's voice cut through my protests. "Guards, detain her." Two massive wolves appeared from the shadows. Beta guards. They grabbed my arms before I could react. "Wait!" I started to struggle, but they were strong. Too strong. "Father, wait," Damon said, and there was something in his voice I couldn't identify. "Let her speak." "She's had her chance to speak. She's lied about everything. Her name, her family, her intentions." "I didn't lie about my intentions," I said, trying to keep the panic out of my voice. "I told Damon the truth. I'm here to hide, to protect my sister. That's all." "Your sister?" Ferdinand's eyes narrowed. "The Rogue King has another daughter?" Shit, I'd just put Lena in more danger. "Please," I said, and I hated how my voice cracked. "Please, you have to believe me. I'm not a spy. I'm not working for him. I ran away because I didn't want to be part of his world anymore." The rogue woman laughed. "Such a touching story. Too bad it's complete bullshit." "And why should we believe you?" Damon asked her, his voice cold. He'd moved to stand beside his father, arms crossed. "You show up out of nowhere, asking for sanctuary, claiming to have inside information about the Rogue King. How do we know you're not the spy?" "Good question." The woman's smile faltered slightly. "Because we have proof, intel, documents." "That could easily be fabricated," Damon interrupted. "Where's your proof? Show us." She hesitated. "You don't have any, do you?" Damon pressed. "You're making this up." "No, we..." She looked at her companions, who shuffled nervously. "The proof is coming. We sent someone to retrieve it. He'll be here soon." "How convenient," Damon said dryly. Ferdinand held up a hand. "Enough. We'll hold everyone until we can verify the truth. Damon, take our guest," he gestured to me, "to the detention cells. I'll question these rogues separately." "Father, I don't think..." "That's an order." Damon's jaw clenched, but he nodded. "Yes, Alpha." The guards released my arms and Damon stepped forward, pulling out silver cuffs. I looked at him, really looked at him, searching for any sign of the person I'd been talking to an hour ago, the one who'd asked to be friends. But his face was a mask. "Hands," he said quietly. I held out my wrists. The silver burned as he locked the cuffs in place. I hissed in pain. "Sorry," he muttered, so quietly I almost didn't hear it. Then he took my arm and led me away from the border, back toward the pack buildings. We walked in silence for several minutes. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. "Say something," I said. "What do you want me to say?" "Anything. Yell at me. Tell me I'm a liar. Tell me you hate me. Just say something." He stopped walking, turned to face me. "What do you want me to say, Kira?" The way he said my real name felt wrong. That I'm not angry? That I'm not hurt that you lied to me? That I'm not terrified that everything you told me was bullshit and you actually are a spy? "I'm not a spy," so you say. But you also said your name was Riley. You also said you'd be honest with me. And now I find out your father is the most dangerous rogue in the country, and you're some kind of rogue princess. I am not a princess. I'm nothing. Just a girl who made the mistake of being born to the wrong father." The words came out harsher than I intended. Damon stared at me. Then, surprisingly, his expression softened slightly. "Tell me the truth," he said. "All of it. Right now. This is your last chance." I took a breath. "My name is Kira Blackwood. My father is Drake Blackwood, the Rogue King. He's planning something big. I don't know what exactly, but my sister told me he's been gathering forces. 6 months ago, I ran away because I didn't want to be part of his world anymore. I've been in hiding ever since. I came here using a fake identity because I thought a werewolf boarding school would be the last place anyone would look for me." "Why?" "Because my father hates the pack system, hates everything it stands for. I figured hiding in plain sight at a pack school was safer than trying to disappear into the human world." "And your sister?" "Her name is Lena. She's 16. She's still with my father because she's not old enough to run. I've been trying to save enough money to get her out, but—" My voice caught. "But I haven't figured out how yet." Damon was quiet for a long moment. "Why didn't you tell me this from the beginning?" "Because I knew what would happen. Exactly what's happening right now. I'd be arrested, locked up, treated like a criminal for something I didn't do. You lied about your identity. That alone is—" I know it's wrong. But what was I supposed to do? Walk in on my first day and announce, "Hi, I'm the Rogue King's daughter, please don't kill me." Despite everything, I saw the corner of his mouth twitch, almost a smile. "That would have been interesting," he admitted. We started walking again, slower this time. "Those rogues," I said carefully. "I don't know them. I've never seen them before. And I swear on my sister's life, I have not been communicating with my father or his people." "Someone's been communicating. The texts they mentioned could be faked, could be from someone else, could be my father's people setting me up so that when he does attack, everyone's looking at me instead of the real threat." Damon considered this. "That's actually plausible. Because it's true." We reached a large stone building I hadn't seen before, the detention center, I assumed. Damon pulled out a keycard and swiped it across a scanner. The heavy door clicked open. "Inside," he said. The detention center was clean but cold. Concrete floors, reinforced doors, definitely built to hold werewolves. He led me to a cell at the end of the hallway and unlocked it. "In." I stepped inside. The cell was small but not terrible. A bench, a sink, a toilet. That was it. Damon stood in the doorway, one hand on the door. "I want to believe you," he said quietly. "But you don't. But I don't know if I can." He ran his free hand through his hair. "My father will interrogate those rogues. If they're lying, we'll find out. If they're telling the truth, they're not. Then you have nothing to worry about." He stepped back, starting to close the door. "Damon, wait." He paused. "The mate bond," I said desperately. "Can't you feel it? Can't you tell I'm not lying?" His expression cracked slightly. Pain flickered across his face. "The mate bond tells me you're scared," he said. "That you're desperate, that you want me to trust you. But it doesn't tell me whether you're trustworthy. Please, just don't give up on me yet. Give me a chance to prove I'm telling the truth." He stood there for a long moment, hand on the door, looking at me like he was trying to read my soul. Finally, he nodded once. "I'll see what I can find out. But, Kira, if you are lying, if you are working for your father, I'm not. Then we're not just enemies. We're fated enemies, and that's the worst kind there is." He closed the door. The lock clicked. I was alone. I sank down onto the bench, the silver cuff still burning my wrists. "Well," my wolf said dryly, "that could have gone better." I almost laughed. Instead, I pulled my knees to my chest and tried to figure out what the hell I was going to do now. 2 hours later, the door opened again. I looked up, expecting Damon. Instead, Alpha Ferdinand walked in. I stood immediately, every muscle tensing. He studied me for a long moment, his expression unreadable. "Sit," he said finally. I sat. He remained standing, arms crossed, towering over me. "I've questioned the rogues," he said. "Their story is inconsistent, full of holes, and they have no proof of their claims." Hope flickered in my chest. "However," he continued, and the hope died, "that doesn't prove you're innocent, only that they might be lying." "I am innocent. I'm not a spy. I'm not working for my father." "So you keep saying." He pulled something from his pocket, a tablet. He turned it toward me. On the screen was a photo, my father, and standing next to him— "No," I whispered. "It was me, or someone who looked exactly like me. Same height, same build, same dark hair, but I'd never been in that photo. I'd never stood next to my father like that, smiling, looking proud." "This was taken 3 weeks ago," Ferdinand said, "at a rogue gathering. That's you, isn't it?" "No. I mean, it looks like me, but it's not. I haven't seen my father in 6 months. It has to be faked, or—" I stopped. My sister. Lena looked almost exactly like me. Same height, same build. From a distance, especially in a photo, someone could easily mistake her for me. "That's my sister," I said quickly. "That's Lena, not me." "Your sister you claim you're trying to protect?" "Yes." "The sister who's supposedly being held against her will by your father?" I saw where this was going. "She is being held against her will. Just because she's in a photo with him doesn't mean— It means she's still loyal to him. And if she is, why wouldn't you be?" "Because I'm not her. I ran away. I left." "Or you're pretending to have left, playing the long game, gaining our trust so that when your father attacks, we won't see it coming." I stood up, frustrated. Why would I do that? What would be the point? "Intelligence, access, trust." He leaned in. "Tell me, how long before you would have gotten close to my son, before the mate bond would have made him trust you completely, before you could learn everything about our defenses, our weaknesses, our plans?" "That's not— I would never—" "Your father is a master manipulator. Everyone knows this. And you're his daughter, his heir. Why wouldn't you have learned from him?" "Because I'm nothing like him." The words burst out of me. "I hate what he is. I hate what he does. I hate that I share his blood. That's why I left. That's why I've been hiding. Because I don't want to be like him. I don't want to be a monster." Ferdinand watched me carefully. "Then prove it," he said. "How?" "Help us. Tell us everything you know about your father's operation, his plans, his weaknesses, his allies, everything." I hesitated. "I don't know much. He kept me separate from most of his operations, but I know some things, locations, names, contacts." "Then tell us. Give us something we can use. Show us you're really on our side." This was it, the choice. Betray my father completely, become a traitor to the rogues, put Lena in even more danger. Or stay silent, be labeled a spy, probably executed. Not much of a choice. "If I help you," I said slowly, "I need something in return." Ferdinand raised an eyebrow. "You're not in a position to negotiate." "My sister, when you move against my father, and you will move against him eventually, I need your word that you'll get her out safely, that you'll protect her." "And if she doesn't want to be saved?" "She does. I know she does. She's just scared. She's trapped. But if you can get her out, she'll come. I know she will." Ferdinand studied me for a long moment. Then he pulled out his phone and made a call. "Damon, come to detention cell 3, now." He hung up. We waited in silence. 2 minutes later, Damon appeared in the doorway. "Father?" "Our guest has agreed to cooperate. She's going to tell us everything she knows about the Rogue King's operation. In exchange, we agree to extract and protect her sister when we move against him." Damon's eyes found mine. "Is that true?" I nodded. "I'll tell you everything I know, everything I've seen, names, places, weaknesses, all of it." "And in return?" "You save Lena. You keep her safe. You don't punish her for being born to the wrong father, just like I hope you won't punish me." Damon looked at his father. They had a silent conversation with their eyes. Finally, Ferdinand nodded. Agreed. You cooperate fully, we'll extract your sister when the time comes. Relief flooded through me. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. If any of your information turns out to be false, the deal is off. He moved toward the door. Damon, she's your responsibility. Get her statement. Record everything. I want a full report by morning. He left. Damon and I stared at each other. So, he said finally, want to tell me about your father's operation? Not really, but I will. He pulled out his tablet. Start from the beginning. I took a deep breath, and I started talking. Chapter 6. Intelligence. We talked for 3 hours. Damon asked questions. I answered. He took notes on his tablet, occasionally stopping me to clarify details or ask for more specifics. I told him about my father's main compound, an abandoned industrial complex outside of Chicago, about his lieutenants, Wilson Reed, his second-in-command, Britt McLaughlin, his weapons expert, Rocco Haney, who handled recruitment. I told him about the training camps where young rogues were taught to fight, about the supply routes they used to move weapons and resources, about the safe houses scattered across 3 states, and I told him about the one thing that scared me most. He has elementals, I said quietly. Damon's head snapped up. What? At least 2, maybe more. A fire elemental named Terrence, I don't know his last name, and possibly an earth elemental, though I only heard rumors about that one. How the hell did he recruit elementals? Money? Promises? My father's very good at finding people's weaknesses and exploiting them. I leaned back against the wall. Terrence is dangerous. Really dangerous. He can create fire out of nothing. He doesn't need fuel or a spark. I snapped my fingers. Fire. That's why the rogues at the border mentioned an attack on the High Council, Damon said, thinking out loud. With elementals, he'd actually have a chance. More than a chance. With the right strategy, he could do serious damage. I hesitated. There's something else. What? I'm an elemental too. Water. Damon stared at me. You're... what? Water elemental. I can control water. Ice, snow, anything with H2O molecules. I met his eyes. That's another reason I'm valuable to him. He wanted to use me in his attack, train me to fight alongside his other elementals, create some kind of unstoppable force. Is that why you ran? Part of it. I didn't want to be a weapon. I didn't want to hurt people for his cause. I looked down at my cuffed hands. I just wanted to be normal, to have a choice. Damon was quiet for a long moment. Then he stood up, pulling a key from his pocket. What are you doing? I asked, taking off the cuffs. Your father said... My father said you were my responsibility, and I'm deciding you don't need to be cuffed. He unlocked the silver restraints and they fell away. I rubbed my wrists where the skin was red and irritated. Thank you. He sat back down, closer this time, close enough that our knees almost touched. Show me, he said. Show you what? Your power. The water thing. I looked around the cell. There's not much water here. He pulled a water bottle from his jacket pocket and set it on the bench between us. Use this. I picked up the bottle, unscrewed the cap, and focused. The water rose from the bottle in a smooth stream, hovering in the air between us. I shaped it into a sphere, then a spiral, then let it separate into dozens of tiny droplets that danced like stars. Damon watched, mesmerized. I guided the water back into the bottle and screwed the cap on. That's incredible, he breathed. It's also exhausting. Using power like that drains energy fast. I can do bigger things, create walls of ice, freeze entire rooms, but it takes a lot out of me. Could you fight Terrence? Fire against water? Maybe. I've never tried, but theoretically, yes. Water can extinguish fire. Then you're not just valuable to your father, you're valuable to us. The way he said us made something warm settle in my chest. I want to help, I said. When you move against my father, I want to be there. I want to fight. Absolutely not. Damon, Kira, you're 17 years old. I'll be 18 in 2 weeks. And you've already been through too much. I'm not putting you in the middle of a war zone. I've been in the middle of a war zone my entire life, I shot back. At least this time I'd be fighting for something I believe in. We stared at each other, neither willing to back down. Finally, Damon sighed. We'll discuss it later, after we've verified your information and come up with a plan. Fine. For now, you need to eat something. When's the last time you had food? I tried to remember. Breakfast? That felt like a lifetime ago. This morning. He shook his head and pulled out his phone. I'm having food brought here. What do you want? I'm in a detention cell. I don't think I get to order. You're cooperating. That earns you decent food. So, what'll it be? The kindness in his voice made my throat tight. Anything. I'm not picky. He typed something into his phone. Done. Food'll be here in 20 minutes. Thank you. Stop thanking me. Stop being nice to me. The corner of his mouth twitched. Can't help it. Mate bond won't let me be a complete asshole to you. Despite everything, I smiled. Is it driving you crazy? You have no idea. Every instinct I have is telling me to get you out of here, take you somewhere safe, protect you from everything. He rubbed the back of his neck. It's annoying as hell. Tell me about it. My wolf's been screaming at me for hours to get closer to you. Is that why you keep leaning toward me? I froze. I hadn't realized I was doing it. Maybe. For what it's worth, he said quietly, I keep wanting to do the same thing. The air between us shifted, charged. We were too close. I should move back, put distance between us. I didn't. Damon. A loud bang echoed through the detention center. We both jumped up. What was that? I asked. Damon's eyes had gone dark, alert. Stay here. Not a chance. He shot me a look but didn't argue. We moved to the cell door together. Another bang, then shouting. That's coming from the interrogation wing, Damon said. He pulled out his phone, dialing quickly. Security, what's happening in interrogation 3? I watched his face go pale. I'm on my way. He hung up. The rogues, they're dead. What? All 3 of them, poisoned. He looked at me. Someone didn't want them talking. My blood ran cold. My father. What? My father must have planted them, sent them here to expose me, create chaos, and then killed them to cover his tracks. I grabbed Damon's arm. We need to increase security, now. If he can get to those rogues inside your detention center, he can get to anyone. Damon's jaw clenched. He won't get to you. I'm not worried about me. I'm worried about everyone else. Damon, if my father is making moves this bold, then the attack is coming sooner than we thought. He was already moving, pulling me with him out of the cell. Come on, we need to tell my father. We ran through the corridors of the detention center, upstairs, through hallways I didn't recognize. We burst into a large office where Alpha Ferdinand stood with several other wolves I didn't recognize. Father, the rogues are dead, I know. Ferdinand's face was grim. Poison capsules hidden in their teeth. They bit down on them the moment our guards turned their backs. Suicide mission, one of the other wolves said. A woman with short gray hair and sharp eyes. Classic Rogue King tactic. This is Beta Blair, Damon said to me, then to Blair. Kira's confirmed her father has elementals. At least 2, possibly more. Blair's eyes widened. Shit. We need to call an emergency council meeting, Ferdinand said. Contact the other alphas. If the Rogue King is moving against the High Council, they need to know. I'll handle it, Blair said, already pulling out her phone. Ferdinand turned to me. You're certain about the elementals? Yes, I've seen Terrence create fire myself, and I've heard my father mention having an earth elemental, though I never met them. Can you fight them? I hesitated. I can try. Water against fire. I have a chance. But Earth is different. I'm not sure how my powers would match up. We'll need to test that. He looked at Damon. Get her to the training facility. Figure out what she can do. I want a full assessment by morning. Yes, Alpha. Ferdinand's expression softened slightly. Miss Blackwood. Kira, please. Kira, I misjudged you earlier. I apologize. The apology surprised me. Alphas didn't apologize often. Thank you, Alpha. But understand this, you're still under watch. You've provided valuable intelligence, but trust must be earned. One wrong move. I understand. He nodded. Good. Damon, take her to get food first. She looks half-starved. Already ordered, Damon said. Then go. We have work to do. We left the office, but instead of heading back to the detention center, Damon led me in a different direction. Where are we going? I asked. My quarters. Food's being delivered there, and it's more comfortable than a cell. Your father said I'm still under watch. He said you're my responsibility, and I'm taking you to my quarters where I can keep an eye on you personally. I should argue, should insist on going back to the cell, keep proper distance, but I was tired, scared, and the mate bond was pulling me toward him so strongly I could barely resist. Okay, I said quietly. He glanced at me, surprised. Really? No argument? I'm too tired to argue. Noted. I'll remember that for future negotiations. Despite everything, I almost laughed. We walked in silence for a few minutes, then Damon said, For what it's worth, I believe you, about not being a spy. You do? Yeah, the way you talked about your father, about not wanting to be like him, that was real. And the information you gave us checks out with what we already knew. You're telling the truth. Relief washed over me. Thank you. But Kira? He stopped walking and turned to face me. If your father does attack, if he comes here looking for you, I know. I'll fight. I won't let him hurt anyone because of me. That's not what I was going to say. He stepped closer. I was going to say that I won't let him take you. Mate bond or not, spy or not, you're under my protection now, and I protect what's mine. The words sent shivers down my spine. I'm not yours, I said, but there was no heat in it. Not yet, he agreed, but you will be, eventually. Pretty confident. The mate bond doesn't lie. We might fight it, but we'll end up together. It's just a matter of time. He was probably right. I hated that he was probably right. Come on, he said, starting to walk again. Food's waiting, and then we figure out exactly what you can do with those powers of yours. I followed him, my mind racing. My father was coming. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon. And when he did, I'd have to choose. My blood family or my chosen family. The monster who raised me or the mate who was starting to trust me. The past or the future. I already knew which one I'd choose. I just hoped I'd be strong enough to follow through. Chapter 7. Fire and Ice. Damon's quarters were nothing like I expected. I'd imagined something sterile and military. What I got was surprisingly lived in. Books stacked on every surface. A worn leather couch. Photos on the walls. Him with his father. Him with what looked like childhood friends. Him in various combat poses from training. Sorry about the mess, he said, clearing papers off the couch. I wasn't expecting company. It's fine. Better than a cell. A knock on the door announced the food delivery. Damon brought in 2 bags that smelled incredible. I didn't know what you liked, so I got a variety, he said, unpacking containers. Burgers, fries, salad, pasta, chicken wings. My stomach growled loudly. When did you last eat a real meal? He asked, frowning. Define real meal. Kira. 2 days ago? Maybe 3? I grabbed a burger. I've been rationing money. Food wasn't the priority. He looked like he wanted to say something but didn't, just pushed more food toward me. We ate in silence for a few minutes. I tried not to inhale everything like a starving animal, but it was hard. Everything tasted amazing. Better? Damon asked after I'd demolished half the food. Much. He leaned back, studying me. Tell me about your sister, Lena. I tensed slightly. What do you want to know? Everything. If we're going to extract her, I need to understand who she is, what motivates her, whether she'll cooperate. Fair point. She's 16, looks almost exactly like me. Same height, same build, same hair. That's why people mistake us in photos. I picked at my fries. She's smart, really smart. Better at strategy than I ever was, but she's also scared. Our father he's different with her than he was with me. Different how? Gentler. He sees her as his heir now that I'm gone. He's trying to mold her into the perfect successor, teach her everything he knows. You think she believes in his cause? No, I think she's surviving, saying what he wants to hear, doing what he wants her to do. But deep down? I met Damon's eyes. She hates him as much as I do. She's just better at hiding it. How can you be sure? Because we have a code, a way of communicating that he doesn't know about. I pulled out my phone. See this text she sent me earlier? Don't do anything stupid. Seems normal, right? Damon nodded. But stupid is our code word. It means, I'm not safe, be careful, trust no one. If she'd said, don't do anything crazy, that would mean she's okay. Stupid means danger. That's actually clever. She came up with it when she was 14. I smiled despite everything. Like I said, smart. Can you contact her now? Let her know we're planning an extraction? I hesitated. If my father's monitoring her phone, use the code. Keep it vague. He was right. I pulled up our text thread and typed carefully. Me. Had a crazy day. Miss you. Crazy meant, I'm safe. I trust the people I'm with. The response came fast. Lena. Sounds stupid. Be careful. Love you. Still in danger. Still scared. Me. Love you too. Hang in there. I showed Damon the exchange. She's still not safe, he said. No, but at least she knows I'm okay, that I haven't abandoned her. He squeezed my shoulder gently. The touch sent warmth through me. We'll get her out, I promise. Don't make promises you can't keep. I don't. His hand lingered for a moment before he pulled away. Come on, let's go test those powers of yours. The training facility was empty at this hour, just us and the echo of our footsteps. Damon led me to a large room with concrete walls and floors. Training dummies lined one side, targets on the other, and in the center, a massive water tank. You had this ready? I asked. We have training equipment for all types of wolves, including the rare ones. He gestured to the tank. Show me what you can do. I approached the water, feeling it call to me. My element, my power. I raised my hands and the water responded immediately, rising from the tank in a smooth column. Good, Damon said from behind me. Now make it bigger. I pulled more water up. The column widened, became a wall. 8 feet tall, 10 feet wide. Can you freeze it? I focused. The water solidified, becoming ice. Clear and solid and cold. How thick? I pushed more power into it. The ice grew denser. 6 inches thick. Then a foot. Impressive. Can you move it? I gestured, and the ice wall slid across the floor like it weighed nothing. Can you make it sharp? I shaped the top of the wall, creating dozens of ice spikes, each one razor-sharp and deadly. Jesus, Damon breathed. You could kill someone with that. That's the idea. Have you? Killed someone? I let the ice fall, melting back into water. Yes. Silence. Who? He asked quietly. One of my father's men. He tried to stop Lena and me from leaving, tried to hurt her. I turned to face him. I put an ice spike through his throat. Does that bother you? That you defended your sister? No. He walked closer. That you've had to do that at all? Yes. I'm not innocent, Damon. I've hurt people, killed people. I'm not some damsel who needs rescuing. I know. I saw you take down 5 trained fighters in 30 seconds, remember? He stopped in front of me. But there's a difference between being capable of violence and being violent. You're the first one, not the second. How do you know? Because I can feel it, through the mate bond. You're not a killer at heart. You're a survivor. The accuracy of that statement made my chest tight. What about you? I asked. Have you killed? Yes, rogues who attacked our territory, threats to my pack. His jaw clenched. It never gets easier. No, it doesn't. We stood there for a moment, 2 people who'd done terrible things to protect the people they loved. Show me more, Damon said finally. Show me everything you can do. For the next hour, I demonstrated my powers. I created ice walls and weapons, froze the entire tank solid, made it snow inside the room, pulled moisture from the air and shaped it into water. By the end, I was exhausted and drenched in sweat. That's incredible, Damon said, offering me a towel. You're incredibly powerful. And incredibly tired. I wiped my face. Using that much power drains me fast. How long could you fight at that intensity? Maybe 30 minutes? An hour if I'm pushing it. After that, I'd pass out. So we need to make sure you're not fighting alone. We? You think I'm going to let you fight my father's fire elemental without backup? He raised an eyebrow. I'm your mate. Where you go, I go. That's a terrible strategy. Probably, but it's the only one my wolf will accept. He moved closer, invading my personal space. You're stuck with me, Kira. Better get used to it. I don't need protecting. I know, but I need to protect you anyway. Mate bond, remember? It's not logical. I could feel the heat radiating off him, could see my own desire reflected in his eyes. The bond pulled tight between us, demanding acknowledgement. This is a bad idea, I whispered. Terrible idea, he agreed. We barely know each other. We're biologically designed for each other. That doesn't mean... He kissed me. Not rough, not demanding, gentle, questioning. For half a second I froze, then I kissed him back. The mate bond exploded between us, singing with joy. My wolf howled in triumph. Every nerve in my body lit up. His hands came up to cup my face, mine tangled in his hair. The kiss deepened, becoming something desperate and needful. When we finally broke apart, both breathing hard, I could only stare at him. Okay, I said shakily. That was... yeah. We probably shouldn't... Definitely not. But we're going to anyway, he finished, because the mate bond won't let us stay away from each other. He was right. Damn him, he was right. For the record, I said, I'm still mad at you for putting me in that cell. For the record, I'm still mad at you for lying about your name. Guess we're even. Guess so. We stared at each other, both fighting smiles. Then his phone rang. He groaned, checking the screen. It's my father. I have to take this. Go ahead, he answered. Yeah? His expression changed, went cold. When? How many? A pause. I'm on my way. He hung up, already moving. What's wrong? I asked. Rogue sighting at the eastern border. 20 of them, maybe more. He grabbed a jacket. They're not attacking, just standing there, watching. That's a scout force. They're assessing your defenses. That's what my father thinks too. He turned to me. Stay here, lock the door. Don't let anyone in except me or my father. Damon, I mean it, Kira. If this is the beginning of your father's attack, you're the target. Stay hidden. And what are you going to do? My job. Protect my pack. He kissed me quickly. I'll be back as soon as I can. Then he was gone. I stood alone in the training room, water still dripping from my hair. My father was here. Not here physically, maybe, but his people were, and they weren't going away. I pulled out my phone and texted Lena. Me. Something crazy is happening. Stay safe. I love you. The response came faster than expected. Lena, he's coming for you. Tonight. Run. My blood turned to ice. I typed back frantically. Me. Where are you? Are you with him? Lena. Yes. He made me help him plan. I'm sorry. I couldn't stop him. Please, run. I stared at the screen, my heart hammering. My father was coming. Tonight. And Lena had been forced to help him plan the attack. I had two choices. Run, save myself, abandon everyone here, or stay, fight, and face the monster who made me. I thought about Damon, about Alpha Ferdinand who'd apologized to me, about Molly who'd befriended me without question. I thought about all the students sleeping peacefully in their dorms, unaware of the danger coming, and I made my choice. I wasn't running anymore. I grabbed my phone and called Damon. Kira, I told you to. My father's attacking tonight. Now. My sister just warned me. You need to evacuate the students and prepare for a full assault. Silence. Then, how many? I don't know, but enough that he's confident he can win. We'll be ready. Damon, I'm coming with you. Absolutely not. He's coming for me. That means I can draw him out, use myself as bait while you protect the others. Kira, that's suicide. No, that's strategy. I started walking toward the exit. You said where I go, you go. Well, I'm going to end this, so you better keep up. I hung up before he could argue. My hands were shaking, my heart was racing, but I wasn't scared. I was done being hunted. Tonight, the prey became the predator. Tonight, I faced my father, and one of us wasn't walking away. Chapter 8. The Rogue King Attacks. I reached the main courtyard just as alarms started blaring. Students poured out of buildings in various states of panic and confusion. Teachers and staff tried to organize them, directing them toward the reinforced shelter beneath the main building. Damon stood on the steps, shouting orders. He spotted me, and his expression shifted from commanding to furious in half a second. I told you to stay in my quarters. And I told you I'm not hiding anymore. I climbed the steps to stand beside him. How long do we have? He wanted to argue. I could see it in his eyes. But we didn't have time. 10 minutes, maybe less. They're coming from 3 directions: east, west, and south. North is our only clear exit route. That's intentional. They want us to run north. Why? Because that's where the real force is waiting. The other 3 are just distraction. I grabbed his arm. My father's a master tactician. He never reveals his full hand until the trap is set. Damon's jaw clenched. He pulled out his phone and dialed. Beta Blair, redirect half the northern defense to reinforce the eastern flank. The northern threat is larger than we thought. He paused. I don't care what the scouts say. Do it, now. He hung up and looked at me. This better be right. It is. I've seen him plan attacks before. Alpha Ferdinand appeared, flanked by 4 massive wolves, his personal guard. He took in my presence with a raised eyebrow, but didn't comment. Student evacuation? He asked Damon. Underway. Should be complete in 5 minutes. And our fighters? Positioned at all 4 borders, 40 wolves total. Against how many rogues? I answered before Damon could. At least 80, maybe 100. Ferdinand's expression darkened. We're outnumbered 2 to 1. But we have home advantage, and an elemental. I stepped forward. Let me fight. I can take on Terrence. Water against fire. While they're focused on us, your wolves can pick off the others. You want to fight an experienced fire elemental? Alone? I won't be alone. I looked at Damon. Right? He sighed. She's not going without me. Absolutely not, Ferdinand said. Damon, you're the alpha heir. If something happens to you, then you still have the pack. But if we lose this fight, there won't be a pack to inherit. Damon's voice was steel. Father, we need every advantage. Kira knows the enemy. She can fight their elemental, and the mate bond means we're stronger together. The mate bond is not a combat strategy. It is when both mates are fighters. They stared at each other, a silent battle of wills. Finally, Ferdinand nodded. Fine, but you stay together. No heroics, no unnecessary risks. Agreed, I said. An explosion rocked the eastern wall. Everyone froze. Then, chaos erupted. Wolves poured through the breach in the wall, rogues all in attack formation, at least 30 of them. "Defensive positions!" Ferdinand roared, shifting into his wolf form mid-run. Damon grabbed my hand. "With me, now." We ran toward the eastern breach, arriving just as the first wave of rogues hit our defensive line. The battle was instant and brutal. Wolves tore at each other, blood splattered across white snow. The sounds of snarling and screaming filled the air. I pulled water from the air, from the snow beneath our feet, shaping it into sharp projectiles. Ice spears flew from my hands, striking rogues mid-leap. Some went down, others kept coming. Damon fought beside me in human form, impossibly fast and strong. Every move precise, every strike lethal. A rogue broke through, lunging at me. I froze the ground beneath his feet. He slipped. Damon's fist connected with his jaw and the rogue went down hard. "Behind you!" I shouted. Damon spun, catching another rogue mid-air and slamming him into the ground. We moved like we'd been fighting together for years instead of hours. The mate bond hummed between us, letting us anticipate each other's movements. "More coming from the west!" someone shouted. I looked and my heart sank. Another 30 rogues, at least, and leading them... "There," I breathed. A man walked calmly through the chaos, tall, lean, with red hair and a smile that promised destruction. Terrence, the fire elemental. He raised his hands, and flames erupted from his palms, creating a wall of fire between us and our wolves on the western flank. "Go," Damon said. "I'll handle the rogues here." "You can't fight alone." "I'm not alone. My father's pack is here. You need to stop Terrence before he burns this whole place down." He kissed me hard and fast. "Be careful." "You too." I ran toward the western flank, toward the fire elemental who served my father. Terrence saw me coming and grinned. "Princess Kira!" he called out. "Your father will be so pleased to see you." "He's here?" I called back, pulling water from the nearby fountain. "Oh, he's here, watching, waiting for the right moment." Terrence sent a stream of fire at me. I created a wall of ice. The fire hit it and steam exploded between us. "You've gotten stronger," Terrence said, circling. "The Rogue King will be impressed." "I don't care what he thinks." "You should. He's your father, your king." "He's a monster. He's a visionary." Fire erupted around Terrence, turning him into a living inferno. "And you could stand beside him, rule with him. Instead, you chose these pathetic pack wolves." He sent another wave of fire. I met it with water, the two elements colliding in an explosion of steam. We were evenly matched. For every attack he made, I had a counter. But he was experienced, trained. He knew how to pace himself, conserve energy. I was running on adrenaline and determination, not a sustainable strategy. I needed to end this fast. I pulled moisture from everywhere, the air, the ground, the trees, gathered it into a massive sphere of water above our heads. Terrence looked up and his eyes widened. "Clever girl," he said. "But can you control that much at once?" Honestly, I had no idea, but I had to try. I brought my hands down and the water fell like a tidal wave, crashing over Terrence and extinguishing his flames. He went down, sputtering and gasping. I froze the water around him, trapping him in ice up to his neck. "That's for every person you've killed for my father," I said. He glared at me, teeth chattering. "He'll make you pay for this." "Let him try." A slow clap echoed across the battlefield. Every hair on my body stood up. I knew that sound, that rhythm. I turned slowly, and there he was. My father, the Rogue King, Drake Blackwood. He stood at the northern breach, flanked by 50 more rogues, fresh fighters, waiting. "Hello, daughter," he said, his voice carrying across the distance. "Did you really think you could hide from me?" He looked the same as I remembered, tall and broad-shouldered, with dark hair graying at the temples and eyes that saw everything. Handsome if you didn't know the monster beneath. I wasn't hiding, I said, proud that my voice didn't shake. I was running. There's a difference. Is there? He started walking toward me, slow and confident. His rogues stayed back. Because from where I stand, you've been playing at being a normal student, making friends, finding a mate. His eyes found Damon, who was fighting his way toward us. How sweet. What do you want? What I've always wanted. My daughter back. My family together. He stopped 20 feet away. Come home, Kira. Bring your sister. We can be a family again. We were never a family. You were a tyrant and I was your prisoner. I gave you everything. Power, training, purpose. You gave me nightmares and scars. I created ice daggers in both hands. I'm not going anywhere with you. His expression hardened. Then you leave me no choice. He whistled sharply. The rogues behind him parted, and someone was pushed forward. My heart stopped. Lena, I whispered. My sister stood there, hands bound, looking terrified but defiant. A rogue held a knife to her throat. Let's try this again, my father said calmly. Come with me, willingly, or your sister dies right here. Everything inside me screamed. This was the choice, the impossible choice. Save Lena by surrendering, become my father's weapon, let him win. Or fight, risk Lena's life, maybe lose everything. I looked at my sister. She shook her head minutely. Don't do it. But I couldn't let her die. Kira, don't, Damon's voice. He'd reached my side, bleeding from several cuts but still standing. It's a trap. I know. If you go with him, I know. I looked at Damon, at my mate, the person I'd just started to trust, to care about, maybe even love. I'm sorry, I whispered. Understanding and horror crossed his face. No, Kira, no. I dropped my ice daggers and raised my hands in surrender. I'll come, I called to my father. Just let her go. My father smiled, victorious. I thought you might see reason. The rogue released Lena. She ran toward me, sobbing. But something was wrong. The way she ran, the way she held herself. That wasn't fear, that was... Lena reached me and her hand shot out, pressing something against my neck. Pain exploded through me. I looked down. A syringe. Empty. I'm sorry, Lena whispered, tears streaming down her face. I'm so sorry. He has someone I love. He said if I didn't help, he'd kill him. I didn't have a choice. The world tilted. My knees gave out. Damon caught me as I fell. Kira! Kira! His voice sounded distant, muffled. Wolfsbane, my father said, walking closer. Modified formula. Works on elementals, too. Quite effective, don't you think? I couldn't move, couldn't speak, could barely breathe. Don't worry, daughter. You'll wake up in a few hours, back home, where you belong. Damon snarled, his eyes going black. You're not taking her anywhere. And you're going to stop me? You're outnumbered, outmatched, and your mate is unconscious. My father gestured and his rogues advanced. Stand down, Alpha Heir. This doesn't have to end with more bloodshed. Like hell! An explosion rocked the northern wall. Everyone turned. More wolves poured through, but not rogues. Pack wolves. Dozens of them, maybe 100, and leading them? The High Council, someone breathed. 4 alphas I didn't recognize strode through the breach, their power rolling off them in waves. My father's confident smile faltered. Alpha Blackwood, one of the new alphas said, a woman with silver hair and cold eyes. You're under arrest for crimes against the werewolf nation. Stand down. Now. My father looked at his forces, at the High Council's forces, at me, unconscious in Damon's arms. For a moment, I thought he'd fight anyway. Then he whistled sharply, and his rogues began to retreat. This isn't over, he said to Damon. She's my daughter. She belongs with me. I'll come for her again. Try it, Damon growled, and I'll kill you myself. My father smiled. We'll see. He melted into the shadows with his rogues, disappearing as quickly as they'd come. The last thing I saw before darkness took me completely was Damon's face above mine, his expression desperate. "Stay with me," he whispered. "Please, Kira, stay with me." I wanted to tell him I would, but the darkness swallowed me whole. Chapter 9. Aftermath. I woke up to white. White ceiling, white walls, white sheets. For a terrifying moment, I thought I was back in my father's compound, that everything had been a dream, the school, Damon, my escape. Then I heard voices. "Vitals are stable. The wolfsbane is almost out of her system. How long until she wakes up?" Damon's voice, rough with exhaustion and worry. "Could be any minute, could be hours. Everyone reacts differently." I tried to speak, but my throat was too dry. Tried to move, but my body felt like lead. A hand gripped mine, warm and familiar. "Kira, can you hear me?" I managed to squeeze his fingers. "She's waking up! Get the doctor!" Footsteps, more voices, someone shining a light in my eyes. "Miss Blackwood, can you hear me? Squeeze my hand if you understand." I squeezed. "Good. You're in the medical wing. You were poisoned with wolfsbane, but you're going to be fine. Don't try to talk yet, just rest." I didn't want to rest. I wanted answers. I forced my eyes open. Everything was blurry at first, then slowly came into focus. Damon sat beside the bed, holding my hand like he was afraid I'd disappear if he let go. He looked terrible. Dark circles under his eyes, cuts and bruises covering his face and arms, his shirt torn and blood-stained. "Hey," he said softly, a smile breaking through his exhausted expression. "Welcome back." I tried to speak. My voice came out as a croak. A nurse appeared with water. Damon helped me sit up enough to drink. "Lena," I finally managed. "Where—" Damon's expression darkened. "She's here, under guard. She surrendered to the High Council after your father retreated. Is she—" "She's fine, unharmed. But Kira, she helped him. She drugged you." "I know. He forced her." I gripped his hand tighter. "She said he had someone she loves. He was using that person as leverage. That doesn't excuse, it explains. There's a difference." I tried to sit up further, and pain shot through my body. "Ow!" "Easy. You've been out for 18 hours. Your body needs time to heal." 18 hours. Almost a full day. What happened after I passed out? My father retreated when the High Council showed up, took his rogues and disappeared. Damon's jaw clenched, but we captured 15 of them, including Terrence. They're being held for questioning. Casualties? 7 of our wolves dead, 12 injured. Could have been a lot worse. He brushed hair away from my face. "You saved lives, Kira. Taking down Terrence stopped the fire from spreading. If you hadn't—" "I did what I had to do." "You almost died doing it." "But I didn't." We stared at each other for a moment. Then Damon leaned forward and kissed my forehead. Gentle, reverent. "When I saw you collapse," he said quietly, "when I thought you might not wake up." He stopped, his voice thick with emotion. "I've never been that scared in my life." "I'm okay, I'm here." "You better stay that way." He tried to smile, but it didn't quite reach his eyes. "The mate bond won't let me lose you. My wolf would go feral." Despite everything, I almost laughed. "Can't have that." A knock on the door interrupted us. Alpha Ferdinand entered, followed by the silver-haired woman I'd seen leading the High Council wolves. "Miss Blackwood," Ferdinand said, "this is Alpha Gale Blackwell of the High Council. She'd like to speak with you." My stomach dropped. The High Council, here to judge me for my father's crimes. "I'll stay," Damon said immediately. "That won't be necessary," Gale began. "I'm her mate. I'm staying." His tone left no room for argument. Gale studied him for a moment, then nodded. "Very well." She pulled a chair close to my bed and sat. Up close, she was intimidating. Cold eyes that missed nothing, power radiating from every pore. "I'll get straight to the point," she said. Your father is the most wanted criminal in the werewolf nation. He's responsible for countless deaths, raids, and attacks on packed territories, and you're his daughter and heir. I'm aware. The council has 3 options regarding you. 1. Execute you as an accomplice to his crimes. 2. Imprison you indefinitely as a security risk. 3. Grant you clemency in exchange for your full cooperation in bringing your father to justice. My heart hammered. What kind of cooperation? Intelligence, strategy, anything you know about his operations, his allies, his weaknesses. She leaned forward. And when we move against him, you'll be part of the strike team. You want me to help you kill my father? We want you to help us stop him. Whether that ends in his death or capture is up to him. I looked at Damon. He squeezed my hand but said nothing. This was my choice. I thought about my father, about the people he'd killed, the lives he'd destroyed, the monster he was. And I thought about Lena, about getting her free, about ending this cycle of violence once and for all. I'll do it, I said, on one condition. You're not in a position to negotiate. My sister gets immunity, complete immunity. She was coerced into helping him. She's a victim, not a criminal. Gail's expression didn't change. Your sister drugged you, helped your father plan this attack. By your own admission, she's been living with him for months. How do we know she's not loyal to him? Because I know her. She's scared and trapped, but she's not evil. I met Gail's eyes. If you want my cooperation, you guarantee her safety, non-negotiable. Silence stretched. Then Gail nodded. Fine. Your sister gets immunity in exchange for her testimony against your father, but she'll be under watch. Any sign of betrayal and the deal is off. Agreed. Good. We'll begin debriefing tomorrow. For now, rest. You'll need your strength. She stood. And Miss Blackwood, welcome to the winning side. She left with Ferdinand. As soon as the door closed, I sagged back against the pillows. You okay? Damon asked. I just agreed to help kill my father, so no, not really. You agreed to help stop him. There's a difference. Is there? He didn't answer. I need to see Lena, I said. Please, I need to talk to her. Damon hesitated. She's being held in a secure room, under guard. Can you get me in? Kira, please, she's my sister. I need to see her. Need to understand why she did it. He studied me for a long moment, then sighed. Fine, but I'm coming with you. And if she tries anything, she won't. You said that about not being a spy, and look how that turned out. I wasn't a spy. You were the rogue king's daughter living under a fake name. Semantics. But he was smiling slightly. Despite everything, I smiled back. Help me up? You should rest. I've been unconscious for 18 hours. I've rested enough. He helped me out of bed. My legs were shaky but held. Someone had changed me into clean clothes, soft pants and a loose shirt. We made our way through the medical wing, Damon supporting most of my weight. The guards we passed gave me wary looks but said nothing. We stopped in front of a reinforced door. 2 guards stood outside. We're here to see the prisoner, Damon said. They exchanged glances. Alpha Damon, I'm not sure. It's fine. Open the door. They did. The room beyond was small but comfortable. A bed, a desk, a window with bars. And sitting on the bed, knees pulled to her chest, was my sister. Lena looked up when we entered. Her eyes, the same brown as mine, widened. Kira, she breathed. Then she burst into tears. I crossed the room and pulled her into my arms, ignoring the pain in my body. I'm sorry, she sobbed. I'm so sorry. I didn't want to do it. He said he'd kill Nathan if I didn't help. I didn't have a choice. Who's Nathan? I asked gently. My boyfriend. Father found out about him and took him. Said he'd torture him if I didn't cooperate. I couldn't let him die. Shh, it's okay. I understand. It's not okay. I betrayed you. I helped him attack. People died because of me. I pulled back to look at her. She looked so young, so broken. "Listen to me," I said firmly. "What you did was wrong, but you were put in an impossible situation, and you're here now. You surrendered. That counts for something." "Does it?" She looked past me at Damon, fear in her eyes. "Are they going to execute me?" "No," Damon said, his voice surprisingly gentle. "The High Council granted you immunity in exchange for testimony. You'll be under watch, but you're safe." Lena's relief was palpable. Thank you so much." "Don't thank us yet," Damon said. "You'll have to tell them everything, every detail of your father's operation, every plan, every location, every ally. Can you do that?" Lena looked at me. I nodded encouragingly. "Yes," she said. "I'll tell them everything. I want him stopped. I want this to be over." "Is Nathan still alive?" I asked. "I think so. Father was keeping him at the compound, in the cells." She grabbed my hand. "Kira, we have to get him out, please. He doesn't deserve this." "We will. When the council raids the compound, we'll make sure he's extracted safely." "You promise?" I looked at Damon. He nodded slightly. "I promise." Lena hugged me again, clinging like she was afraid I'd disappear. "I missed you," she whispered. "Every day. I wanted to run like you did, but I was too scared." "You're here now. That's what matters." We talked for another hour. Lena told me everything. About Nathan, about how Father had found them together and used him as leverage, about the months of planning for the attack, about how she'd tried to warn me but couldn't say too much without Father getting suspicious. By the end, I was exhausted and my body was screaming for rest. "I should let you sleep," Lena said. "You look terrible." "Thanks, you're a great sister." She smiled weakly. "I try." Damon helped me to my feet. "We'll come back tomorrow, after the debriefing." Lena nodded. "Kira, I really am sorry." "I know, and I forgive you." Her eyes filled with tears again. "I don't deserve that." "Probably not, but you're getting it anyway. That's what family does." We left the room. The guards locked it behind us. "You're too forgiving," Damon said as we walked back to the medical wing. "And you're too suspicious." "It's kept me alive this long. So has my forgiveness." We reached my room and I collapsed back onto the bed with a groan. "Okay, maybe you were right about the resting thing," I admitted. Damon sat beside me, brushing hair from my face. "I'm usually right. You should get used to that. Never going to happen." He smiled. Then his expression grew serious. "The council wants to move fast. They're planning the raid on your father's compound for next week." "Next week? That's not enough time, I know. But they're worried he'll relocate if we wait too long. Disappear again." "He will. Father never stays in one place after an attack fails." "Then we have 7 days to prepare, 7 days to plan, 7 days until we end this," I finished. We sat in silence for a moment. "Are you scared?" Damon asked quietly. "Terrified." "Me too." I looked at him in surprise. "You? You're an alpha heir. You've fought dozens of battles." "None against someone I'm biologically programmed to want to kill, but who happens to be my mate's father." He took my hand. "The mate bond makes this complicated. If you get hurt, I won't be able to think straight. I'll go feral trying to protect you." "Then we make sure I don't get hurt." Easier said than done. Most things are. He leaned down and kissed me, soft and slow and full of everything we couldn't say out loud. When we broke apart, he rested his forehead against mine. "1 week," he whispered. "We have 1 week to prepare. Let's make it count." "Agreed." He stayed with me until I fell asleep, his hand holding mine, his presence a comfort against the darkness waiting ahead. 1 week until we faced my father. 1 week until everything changed. 1 week until I became either the daughter who saved the werewolf nation or the daughter who destroyed it. Chapter 10. The Rogue King Falls. 7 days passed in a blur of preparation. Day 1, intelligence debriefing. I sat with the High Council for 8 hours, drawing maps of my father's compound, marking guard positions, identifying weak points. Lena joined me, filling in gaps I didn't know. Day 2. Combat training. Damon and I sparred with the Council's elite fighters, learning to coordinate our attacks. Learning to fight as mates, using the bond to anticipate each other's movements. Day 3. Elemental practice. I worked with a water mage the council brought in, an older woman named Verna Richards, who'd been controlling water for 40 years. She taught me techniques I'd never considered, ways to use my power I hadn't imagined. Day 4. Strategy sessions. We planned the raid down to the minute. Extraction routes, contingency plans, what to do if my father had more elementals than we knew about. Day 5. Emotional preparation. The hardest day. Molly visited, bringing care packages from other students. Alpha Ferdinand pulled me aside to tell me I'd earned my place in the pack, regardless of what happened with my father. And Damon and I spent hours talking about what came after, if there was an after. Day 6. Final preparations. Gear checked, weapons distributed. I was given modified silver daggers that wouldn't hurt me, but would cut through rogue wolves like butter. Damon received reinforced armor designed to withstand elemental attacks. Day 7. We departed at dawn. 20 wolves total, the High Council's best fighters. Damon, me, and, surprisingly, Lena, who'd insisted on coming to guide us to Nathan's cell. We traveled in vehicles for the first 6 hours, then shifted and ran the last 2 miles to avoid detection. The compound looked exactly as I remembered, an abandoned factory complex on the outskirts of Chicago, surrounded by chain-link fences and guard towers. From the outside, it looked deserted, but I knew better. Inside, my father commanded an army. We regrouped a quarter-mile out, hidden in the tree line. Alpha Gale addressed us in a low voice. Teams of 4. Team 1, extraction. Get Nathan out and any other prisoners. Team 2, perimeter. Keep rogues from escaping. Team 3, elementals. Kira, Damon, you're with me. We're going straight for the Rogue King. My stomach churned. What about Terrence? I asked. The fire elemental? Still in custody. Your father doesn't have him anymore. Small blessing. But he might have others, Lena added quietly. I heard him mention an earth elemental, Wallace something. Gale's expression darkened. Noted. Everyone clear on their assignments? Nods all around. Good. We move in 5 minutes. Remember, our goal is capture, not kill. We want the Rogue King alive to stand trial. But if he resists... She looked directly at me. We do what's necessary. I nodded, not trusting my voice. Damon took my hand and pulled me aside. You don't have to do this, he said quietly. You can stay back, let us handle it. He's my father, my responsibility. He's a monster who happens to share your DNA. That's not the same thing. I know, but I need to face him, need to prove to myself that I'm nothing like him. I squeezed his hand. I need to end this. He studied my face for a long moment, then nodded. Okay, but we do this together. You don't go anywhere without me. Deal. He kissed me quickly. I love you. The words hit me like a freight train. We hadn't said them before, hadn't had time. I love you too, I whispered back. Then let's survive this so we can have an actual future together. Romantic. I try. Gale called us back. Time's up, move out. We approached the compound in 3 waves, silent, coordinated. The first guard tower went down without a sound, one of our wolves, a skilled sniper, taking out the rogue before he could raise an alarm. We breached the outer fence, still no alarm. Too easy. It's a trap, I whispered to Damon. I know. Keep moving. We entered the main building through a loading dock. The interior was dark, lit only by emergency lights. And empty. No guards, no rogues, nothing. Where is everyone? One of our wolves whispered. I closed my eyes, reaching out with my elemental senses, feeling for water, blood, sweat, moisture in the air. There, underground. The basement, I said. "They're all in the basement. It's a trap." "Then we spring it," Gale said. "On our terms. Team 1, find another entrance. Flank them. Team 2, seal the exits. Team 3, with me." We descended into the basement. The stairwell was narrow, claustrophobic. Every instinct screamed at me to turn back, but I kept moving. We reached the bottom and emerged into a massive open space, the old factory floor, converted into something else. Training area, living quarters, command center. And standing in the center, flanked by 50 rogues, my father. "Kira," he said, his voice echoing, "I was wondering when you'd come home." "This isn't my home." "Isn't it? You were born here, trained here. This is where you belong." He gestured around. "Not with those pack dogs who'll never truly accept you. They accept me more than you ever did. I gave you everything. You gave me trauma and scars." The rogues shifted, growling. Our wolves tensed, ready to attack, but Gale held up a hand, waiting. "Drake Blackwood," she called out. "You're surrounded. Surrender peacefully and you'll receive a fair trial." My father laughed. "A fair trial? From the High Council? We both know how that ends." He looked at me. "Last chance, daughter. Stand with your blood, with your family, or die with theirs." "I'm already standing with my family," I said, moving closer to Damon. "The one I chose." My father's expression hardened. "So be it." He whistled. The floor beneath us erupted. Stone spikes shot up, forcing us to scatter. An earth elemental, Wallace Paul probably, emerged from the shadows, hands glowing with power. "Kill them all," my father ordered. "Except Kira. I want her alive." Chaos exploded. Rogues lunged. Our wolves met them head-on. The basement became a battlefield. Damon shifted into his wolf form, massive, black, terrifying. He tore into rogues, protecting my flank. I pulled water from pipes in the walls, creating barriers and weapons. Ice spears flew. Rogues fell. Wallace attacked, sending stone projectiles at me. I blocked with ice walls, but they shattered under the impact. Earth versus water. I'd never trained for this matchup. "Kira!" Damon's mental voice through the mate bond. "Behind you!" I spun. A rogue lunged. Damon intercepted, jaws closing around the rogue's throat. I turned back to Wallace, pulling moisture from the air, from the ground, from everywhere. Then I remembered what Verna had taught me. Water doesn't just flow, it erodes. I sent a concentrated stream of water at the base of Wallace's stone pillars. High pressure, constant flow. The stone began to crack. Wallace's eyes widened as his constructs crumbled. I redirected the water at him, slamming him against the wall with enough force to knock him unconscious. One elemental down. I searched the chaos for my father, found him fighting Gale, holding his own despite facing an alpha. He was strong, trained, deadly, but he was also distracted. I created an ice spear and hurled it at him. He dodged, but barely. "You dare attack your own father?" he roared. "You're not my father. You're the monster who raised me." I attacked again. Ice daggers, water whips, everything I had. He dodged and weaved, impossibly fast. Then he pulled out a gun. Not a regular gun, something modified, probably loaded with more wolfsbane. He aimed at Damon. "No!" I threw up a wall of ice, but I was too slow. The shot rang out. Damon yelped and went down. Everything inside me shattered. The mate bond screamed, and I lost control. Water exploded from every pipe in the building. The air itself seemed to turn liquid. I pulled moisture from everywhere, creating a massive sphere of water that filled half the basement. Rogues caught in it began to drown. "Kira, stop!" Gale shouted. "You're going to kill everyone!" I couldn't stop. Wouldn't stop. My father had shot my mate. He was going to pay. I shaped the water into dozens of ice spears, all pointed at my father. He stared at me, and for the first time, I saw fear in his eyes. "Kira," he said, "daughter, please, I'm your father." "You were never my father," I said coldly. "You were my warden, my nightmare, and now you're nothing." I prepared to launch every spear. Kira. Damon's voice, weak but alive. I turned. He'd shifted back to human form, clutching his shoulder where the bullet had grazed him. Not a fatal wound, not even serious. "He's not worth it," Damon said. "Don't become like him. Don't let him turn you into a killer. He shot you." "And I'm fine. But you won't be if you do this. If you kill him in cold blood, it'll haunt you forever." He struggled to his feet, crossing to me despite his injury. "Let the council handle him. Let justice be served properly." I looked at my father, at the man who'd tormented me for 17 years. It would be so easy to kill him, so satisfying. But Damon was right. I wouldn't become my father, wouldn't let his violence corrupt me. I let the water fall, the ice spears dissolving. "Take him," I said to Gale. She nodded, gesturing to her wolves. They swarmed my father, pinning him down, cuffing him with silver. He didn't fight, just stared at me. "You'll regret this," he said. "You'll regret choosing them over your own blood." "The only thing I regret," I said quietly, "is not running away sooner." They dragged him away. The battle was over. We'd won. I collapsed into Damon's arms, suddenly exhausted. "Is it really over?" I whispered. "It's over," he confirmed. Around us, our wolves were securing the compound. Lena appeared from the extraction team, supporting a thin young man with dark hair, Nathan presumably. She saw me and burst into tears of relief. "We found him," she called, "and 12 other prisoners. They're all alive." Relief flooded through me. We'd done it. We'd won. And nobody I loved had died. 3 months later. I stood in front of the mirror in Damon's quarters, our quarters now, adjusting my dress. Today was my 18th birthday, and my official Luna ceremony. "You look beautiful," Damon said from the doorway. I turned. He wore a formal suit that made him look unfairly handsome. "You clean up nice yourself," I said. He crossed the room and pulled me into his arms. "Nervous?" he asked. "Terrified." "You've faced your father, fought elementals, survived wolfsbane poisoning. This should be easy." "Public speaking is different." He laughed. "Fair point." A knock on the door. Lena poked her head in. "It's time," she said. "Everyone's waiting." My sister had changed in 3 months. She'd filled out, looked healthier, happier. She and Nathan were inseparable, and the pack had welcomed them both. My father was in prison awaiting trial. Terrence and Wallace were imprisoned with him. The Rogue King's reign of terror was over, and I was about to become Luna of the Glass Pack. "Ready?" Damon asked, offering his arm. "As I'll ever be." We walked to the ceremony hall together. The room was packed. Pack members, students from the school, even representatives from the High Council. Alpha Ferdinand stood at the front, smiling. "Today," he announced as we approached, "we welcome a new Luna to our pack. Kira Blackwood has proven herself brave, loyal, and strong. She fought beside us, protected us, and claimed her place among us." He turned to me. "Kira Blackwood, do you accept the position of Luna? Do you promise to protect this pack, to lead beside your mate, to uphold our laws and traditions?" "I do," I said clearly. "Damon Glass, do you claim Kira Blackwood as your mate and Luna?" "I do," Damon said, squeezing my hand. "Then by the power vested in me as Alpha, I pronounce you mates and pack leaders. Damon, you may mark your mate." Damon leaned in, his teeth grazing my neck. The mark was quick, a flash of pain, then overwhelming pleasure as the mate bond solidified completely. I gasped, feeling Damon in my mind fully for the first time. "I love you," his voice echoed in my head. "I love you too," I sent back. The crowd erupted in cheers. Ferdinand raised his hands for silence. "I have one more announcement," he said. "Effective immediately, I'm stepping down as Alpha. Damon will take my place." Shocked murmurs rippled through the crowd. Damon's eyes widened. "Father, you're ready, son. You've proven it. And with Kira beside you, this pack will thrive." He removed the alpha chain from around his neck and placed it on Damon's. The power transfer was immediate. I felt it through the bond, the weight of leadership, the connection to every pack member. "Alpha Damon," Ferdinand said, bowing his head. "Luna Kira, lead well." More cheers. Damon looked at me, overwhelmed. "We've got this," I sent through the bond. "Together?" he asked. "Together," I confirmed. The celebration lasted hours. Food, music, dancing. Molly cornered me at one point, hugging me fiercely. "I can't believe you're Luna now," she squealed. "And here I thought you were just a boring transfer student." "I'm still boring. You took down 5 beta guards in 30 seconds. You're the opposite of boring." I laughed. "Fair point." As the night wore on, Damon and I slipped away to the balcony overlooking the pack grounds. The moon was full, beautiful. "Think about where we were 3 months ago," Damon said quietly. "You were hiding your identity. I was convinced you were a spy. We were enemies. And now? Now I can't imagine my life without you." He pulled me close. "You're my mate, my Luna, my everything." That's incredibly sappy. "You love it." "Maybe a little." We stood together, looking out at the territory we'd protect, the people we'd lead. "What happens now?" I asked. "Now? We live. We lead. We build something better than what came before." "No more running?" "No more running." I leaned into him, feeling safe for the first time in my life. The daughter of the rogue king had become Luna. The girl who'd been hunted had found her home, and the mate bond I'd never wanted had become the thing I couldn't live without. "Hey, Damon," I said quietly. "Yeah?" "Thank you for not giving up on me." "Never," he said firmly. "You're mine. I protect what's mine." "Even when I'm difficult?" "Especially then." I smiled, closing my eyes, letting the moment wash over me. This was my life now. My pack, my mate, my family. And I'd fight to protect it all, just like they'd fought to protect me. Epilogue. 6 months later, the High Council chamber was packed for the trial. I sat in the front row, Damon beside me, watching as my father was led in wearing silver chains. He looked older, broken. He saw me and something flickered in his eyes. Regret? Anger? I couldn't tell. "Drake Blackwood," the head judge announced. "You stand accused of crimes against the werewolf nation. Murder, assault, conspiracy, terrorism. How do you plead?" My father stood silent. "The defendant refuses to enter a plea," the judge continued. "Very well. We'll proceed with testimony." Lena testified first, then the captured rogues, then me. I told them everything. Every crime I'd witnessed, every person he'd hurt. My father stared at me the entire time, his expression unreadable. The trial lasted 3 days. The verdict was unanimous. Guilty on all counts. Sentence? Life imprisonment in the Silverstone facility, a maximum security prison for supernatural criminals. As guards led him away, my father stopped in front of me. "I underestimated you," he said quietly. "I thought you were weak, but you're stronger than I ever was." "I'm nothing like you," I said. "No," he agreed. "You're better, and I hate that it took losing you to see it." They dragged him away. I watched him go, feeling nothing but relief. It was finally over. Damon took my hand. "You okay?" "Yeah," I said. "I really am." We left the courthouse together, stepping into sunshine. Our whole lives ahead of us, and for the first time ever, I wasn't afraid of the future. I was ready for it. And that's where Kira's story ends, for now. Before you go, let me ask you this. If you had to choose between your blood family and the family you chose, which would you pick? Kira chose freedom over loyalty to her father. Would you have done the same? Drop your answer in the comments, and if you enjoyed this story, please hit that like button if you haven't already. It helps more than you know. Subscribe for more stories like this, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay strong, stay true to yourself, and remember, you're not defined by where you come from, but by the choices you make. Until next time.